guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be my weekly reading update and just going over briefly the books that I was able to get to. This wasn't the best reading week for me because I do suffer from migraines, and I think with the season change my allergies were just crazy, and so I had a lot more migraines, which did not help with the reading. But I was able to finish 2 mangas, or mangas, however you say it, and then I finished The Mysterious Benedict Society, and also The Fall of the House of Usher, which is a short story by Edgar Allen Poe. Here's one of the mangas I finished. It's called My Happy Marriage. So let's go over The Fall of the House of Usher. I realized they just made a TV series, I believe it is, out of this. I don't know how they got a whole TV series out of this short story. It's not that dense. It's pretty straightforward. This guy goes to visit his friend who he hears is in bad health, and the mental health of this individual seems to be deteriorating very quickly, and then at the end there's kind of like the shock or the big reveal, and not really too much to it. I liked it. I love the atmosphere. It's spooky. It's got that gothic vibe, which I love, and I'm a big fan of Edgar Allan Poe. I will say I have heard that he had a lot of speculation and gossip and people trying to defame him and say he was a drunkard and he was a drug addict. I believe he did drink, but he apparently was not a drug addict. This was just rumors and things that spread about him during his life. But he does not help himself with this book because he brings up opium and people who are on opium and how they act in this story. And I was just like, oh, another opium reference. That's so weird. He sure does know a lot about opium and how it affects people. But maybe that was just research. So I like the story. I recommend it. It was fun and, fun for spooky season. And I definitely think he's a good writer. I am planning on reading more of his stuff. I've read The Telltale Heart and all those more popular ones, but I want to read more. So that was the first thing that I got to. Okay, this I read because I saw the movie and it was recommended to me on YouTube because they know me and I watch a lot of dramas. This is a Japanese drama that I watched. I'll put it here. It's a movie and it was fine. It was interesting enough for me to be oh, I'll check out the manga. It's much more, there's more to the movie because this is just, the first book of this series. So you get more from the movie than this book, but it starts off with our main character who's kind of like a Cinderella's type character. She's been abused. She's been treated very poorly by her family, and all because she does not have a gift. People in these, the more prominent families all have gifts, and she, although both her parents were gifted, she's not. So she has no powers. Her sister is powerful. She can see evil spirits, I believe. And then she is betrothed and sent to live with her, fiance, this guy, who's also a very, very strongly gifted individual. And he actually works at, I believe, a place where their whole job is to take care of evil, dark spirits. And I think I'm getting they have a word for it, but I don't know. The translation in the movie and the book, I'm not sure we're exactly correct, but I'm assuming that's just an overarching evil spirits, that come around. In the movie, it was more these spirits were let loose and they were the souls of people who died that then couldn't rest in peace or something. It was one of those where it was a little bit more explained, but I was still oh, okay, so why? But anyway, this is fine. It was enjoyable enough. It's not very long. And basically it's just the first book is her going to live with him. She's heard he's horrible. She's very timid. She's very afraid because she's been abused and treated horribly like a servant. And then realizing he's a nice guy, which I will say it was a nice change for dramas and for mangas because most of them I feel the guy is very cold and mean and kind of domineering in the beginning. But besides the initial misunderstanding between these two, he was just a delight. He was very nice and very kind to her and wanted to help her. So yeah, it was interesting. We'll see what happens in the other books if I read them. And then I read Mars, which I read on my Kindle. This I have seen the drama of. It's pretty popular, I believe, older drama. And the book or the manga is fine. I feel it's very stereotypical, the bad boy character with the good girl character. But I think that this is a little bit better because they are more fleshed out. She has a reason for the way that she is that I believe will come up later. Just a, I guess, trigger warning or whatever, that I believe that there will be SA later on in the series. Like, there's a reason that she's acting this way. She's very like timid and kind of shies away from people, is because I believe that there was some SA in her past. And so you get more about her, and she's an artist, and she has, you know, there's stuff going on with her that you're like, oh, why is she like this? Whereas with his character, he rides motorcycles. They're high school students, by the way. He rides motorcycles, and he's like that bad boy character who's a player, who all the girls think is super hot. And he's also, though, kind of like resentful of that because he feels like nobody really cares about him. He's just an accessory, and he's just with whoever is popular at that time to kind of make them look good. So although I don't love his character, I see why he is the way he is. Like, I get it. It's just, you know, it's kind of like that, well, no, everybody just loves me and I'm so hot and like, it's a hard life. And I get it. Like, no one wants to be treated that way, but also it's kind of hard to feel that really like strong sympathy. But yes, so they have a friendship, and then like you can see that it's going to develop into something more romantic, but of course she gets bullied, and there's all those normal like tropes that happen in dramas and mangas apparently. So it was fine. I will probably continue the series just to see how it goes. And finally, I read The Mysterious Benedict Society. So I'm going to say, if you have read A Series of Unfortunate Events, which I have, most of those books, this is got very, very similar vibes, if you will. It's in a very similar, I feel like, structure, writing, whimsy. It's that same kind of deal as that, with the very talented children who are put in these, you know, extraordinary circumstances and then have to like overcome and use their abilities. And it was good. I liked it. I liked the characters. I liked the story. Okay, I will say what was really lacking for me was the villain aspect of this. And I think that especially at the end, they really needed to flesh out the motivation for the villain and why he was the way he was and why he was doing the villainous things he was doing. Like, why? I get that his whole thing was like about control, and, you know, he was kind of this, I just need to, you know, if I can control everything and I can force people to do things that I want them to do, then everyone will be happy. And I get that, but it wasn't fleshed out enough for me. Like, I didn't feel any menace from this character. I just didn't feel that like, oh, he's such a good villain, which is a bummer because villains to me are like huge to a story. I like the kids. So you have Rennie, Sticky Washington, Constance, and Kate. Kate Weatherall, I think, is her full name. I don't remember Constance's. So you have Rennie, who's like the leader, the problem solver. He's the thinker. George Washington is the knowledge. So he's the, like, he remembers things. He's got like that photographic memory, and he has a lot of knowledge, but it's not always that he knows how to apply that knowledge. It's just there, but he's extremely smart. And then you have Kate, who is your like, she's got her bucket of things, and she's like able to just MacGyver herself into like through any situation. She's just got, oh, well, I have the right tool for this job. And so like, good for you, Kate. And I like her a lot. She was probably my favorite character. And then you have Constance, who is the youngest, and she's a tiny girl. I'll wait. Constance is the, she's kind of the grumpy, more like, she's the one in the, like she's the dark little rain cloud of this group, and I like her. She's like a funny character. She could be super frustrating at times, but I feel like you needed like that character that kind of like, where everybody else is like, okay, we're on this mission, we're gonna save the world. She's like the realist. She's like the, you know, she's like the one that's coming in like, well, this could all fail. And I like that about her. Yeah, so that's Constance. She's the one that is going to be the one to point out all of the bad things that could happen. She is definitely has a bad attitude through a lot of the book. You find out why, and that was a like big reveal at the end with Constance, which I felt like was fine. I think this is an okay book. I didn't love it, but I feel like it was definitely worth reading. And I like the idea of it, I think, more than some of the execution, because I love the beginning. I love the introduction to the characters. I like the tests and everything. And I thought this was kind of going to be what it was. Like they were going to go to this school and have these like adventures there and be taught different things. And it was kind of going to follow that like structure, but it veers into, we got to save the world. You're going to be sent here because there's an evil plot and you got to help us, you know, figure out how to stop it. Because only kids can stop this plot. And that is a main point for the book. It can only be done by kids. So yeah, I think, like I said, it's fine. I like the characters. I think the side characters were kind of meh, and the villain was severely lacking. And at the end where, you know, you're hoping for that villain monologue to explain everything and kind of give you that like, oh, that's why we really don't like him. And that didn't happen. So I was like, he's so meh as a villain. Like he's just so whatever. I'm not sure if he's going to get like, if he's going to be the villain throughout the whole series. This is a series. Or if it's like, he'll just show up again later as, you know, this other character. But I kind of hope that we get more of like why he was this way. Like I would like his backstory. I would like to know why he wants to, you know, take over everything. I want the villain monologue. I do. But this is a series, I believe, on Disney Plus. So if you've seen it and you think it's good, let me know. So I'd definitely be interested in it. And yeah, I do think it's fun for a like YA book, especially if you really liked A Series of Unfortunate Events. It's very, very similar and very similar style. Although I would say I think I prefer A Series of Unfortunate Events. But yeah, that's this one. So that was all that I read this week. I'm going to try and get to, gosh, what am I on right now? I have a few books lined up in my Kindle, and also I'm planning on getting another one for Audible. And then I have a few mangas that I just ordered that are coming. Fruits Basket being one of them. And so we'll see if those make it into next week's update, but I will let you know. And let me know what you're reading down in the comments. Please like and subscribe. It really helps me, and I'll talk to you soon.